hearing first, just so we don't forget that. Thank you.
Now we
Yeah,
can?
yeah.
We don't have to vote? Oh, well, you have to come out of it
Close
anyway.
before we vote,
Hello,
yeah.
okay.
Yep.
And that's an executive decision?
No.
I mean, where's that at?
It's
This is-
Closed budget
Just when
hearing.
you
Yeah.
call to order an open budget
Okay.
hearing at the very beginning, up
Okay.
at the top, right here. You,
Geez,
You-
hello,
yeah.
call to order, open the budget hearing.
Do we need a quorum to approve?
yeah, to approve,
Yeah.
but you can't make any decisions.
Right.
Yeah. Board, we could do board reports and all
Yep.
those.
Mhm.
Yep.
Anyone have any board reports?
Nothing on my end.
No, everybody out in Warner Valley just happy school's over.
That's a first.
Superintendent report.
Sarah, did you want to add anything to your point?
I didn't know if we needed to vote on that or anything to vote on that, or can we go into that one?
On the financial?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally, I can do a
Okay,
financial
go
report.
ahead.
Good deal.
So at the end of May, something happened that has never happened before in my time. Do you want to pass these down? ODE, when they were doing their estimates for last, reconciling last year's funding, estimating this year's final funding, next year's projected funding, all that stuff. Last year's funding estimate reverted us from our 2017-18 income back to our 2016-17 revenue, which is a rather large difference. It's a $114,000 difference. So,
Plus or minus.
minus, yeah. So we did not get our May payment from the state, which is about $57,000. And we also didn't get the May correction that we should have gotten, which is almost $15,000. Additionally, they sent us an invoice for $42,000 to pay, so that it all adds up to that $114,000, right? I emailed and talked to ODE about that and just said, I don't think this is right. We're on the minimum level, our funding never changes once it's set because it's the minimum.
Right.
And so they said, don't pay the invoice. So there's that. And they are gathering information and they recognize the error. I fully anticipate getting the state school fund payment and the May correction payment hopefully also. But they haven't made the payment. And generally ODE doesn't make any state school payments in June for anyone. They do 2 in July and then 1 per month thereafter through May. So I don't really expect to have that money this fiscal year, which means that our ending fund balance is not gonna be $300,000.
Right.
So when it comes time to do the audit and you hear the audit report and you see that our fund balance is closer to 270, maybe even as low as 250 depending.
Right.
It's because of that.
Okay. And then if they send it in July,
I'm
then
hoping
it
they
would go
will.
in back in.
I followed up with them last week and asked them, what's the resolution? And it was, thank you for your patience. We're doing a review. We need to make sure we're communicating it affects all ESDs. Because there are 5 of us on the minimum service grant.
Right.
Did they all get this?
Us and Harney got the invoice. The other 3 don't get any state school fund because they've got such a large tax base. But their funding also was reduced. But because of that, the other ESD's funding, I think, was artificially inflated. So those ESDs got too much money by 5 times $114,000, so $550,000.
Between all of them.
Oh, yeah, amongst the
Yeah.
Among all the other, yeah. So it's kind of a big deal. It sounds like it's rather significant at the ODE level as well. They're reviewing procedures, quote unquote, to make sure it won't happen again.
And we're technically getting dinged for what year?
2017-18
Okay.
is the correction that they were making, but,
Okay, last year then.
yeah.
God, don't you hate it when you get dinged for something you didn't do?
I know.
It's the truth.
Yeah. Well, the invoice was a real surprise, and, honestly, I haven't been checking the estimates because ours never changes.
Yeah.
We're on the minimum, so, anyway, that's where it's at right now. I don't know what to tell you, other than I'm very hopeful that in July we will be all reconciled, but that will cross our fiscal year.
Yeah. And for them to start the conversation with, thank you for your patience, like, what choice do I have?
I don't know if I'm patient or not, no.
Yeah, that's not go, no, I have no patience.
It's like when they took the $10,000 back from Adele.
Yeah.
And she goes, I really appreciate you being so understanding. I said, what am I supposed to do? I said, if I jump up and down and throw a fit, are you gonna change your mind?
Yeah.
If that's the case, let me know and I'll do it.
Yeah.
But otherwise, there's no reason to be rude or,
No.
Yeah.
No.
Can't.
so.
Jeez.
Was there anything?
So how does that
you saw?
affect, like, or a year from now, this new budget's ending fund balance will go way up again then, right?
Hopefully, yeah.
I mean, this one's gonna show low and then the other one's gonna show higher than we,
Yeah.
so it'll
Yeah.
drive the auditors nuts, give them something to do, they're new.
Hmm?
It'll drive the auditors nuts, say they have something to do
Their
because
first
they're new.
year.
Yeah, well, what it does, it also throws off our 90% spending requirement where we have to
Oh,
spend that money.
no.
Because this year, I anticipate we will overspend our 90% by like $60,000.
Because of that,
If this comes out.
If this-
Yeah, if this is true.
Well,
Yeah.
it is true because
Yes.
we don't have the money and but we don't have to pay that one deal back.
Well, then it's gonna affect every ESD that's impacted positively or negatively by this.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I'm
boy.
not sure how big of an impact it'll have because it'll be spread out over 14 or 15 ESDs. Because it's just the 5 small ones that were underdone. But yeah, so next year, it'll all come out in the wash, but our budget may look kind of funky next
Yeah.
year. We may end up overspending some because I did delay some of the expenses we had queued up for May and June for our school districts, just because until we actually have it and we actually have a firm decision from ODE, I just, you can't just go on faith on all of it, but yeah.
Do your best, Sarah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it'll come out in the wash, I'm sure. So that's the report.
Okay. Nothing looks strange on your regular budget report. Superintendent.
Okay, you ready for me?
Sure.
All right, this is my report. Jim, I'll give you one, give you one to Jeanette, and give one to Jim. John. Okay, so first off, everybody's closed down, for the summer and stuff, so that's all good. I think every school district had a good year. I really do think that. We have something that's coming up that has been in the works for a little while. It's called the ESD Regional Support Network. And I will go into that. I think it's in here more detail in the information and stuff. I'll go and talk about that a little bit more. But it's going to be basically, it's our region, it's all the ESDs coming together and working together to work with the state. So when they have projects or things like that, they can, rather than them creating a network throughout the state, we've raised our hand and said, we're already a network amongst the state. There's no reason to create another one and hire personnel. We have, give us the money.
Yeah.
We already know our districts. We already have the communication stream in place, and that kind of stuff. So I'll go into a little bit more, but that's coming up or thing. I'm going to be attending the Coastal Spring Conference. That's June 19th through the 21st. Same thing I did last year. June 27th is going to be my last day, and then I'll be back on August 5th.
The building will be open for the last hub meeting on Tuesday, the 25th, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
Because they see everyone's leaving. this
Right.
week.
Then, on a positive, real positive note, we got word on Tuesday that the fiber project going out to Plush and then over to Adele, we got the extension. Unbelievable. I told Sarah, let's go right now, let's go buy a lottery ticket because it's once in a million kind of a thing. And we got approved, the extension was approved based on extenuating circumstances beyond our control. And so I really think that the sage grouse was the piece that saved us.
Yeah.
Because that was the one part that they could say, these folks had no control over knowing that the sage grouse environment was gonna be a problem and that they couldn't get access to the, to the ground. And so, but that was the basis that of their approval was circumstances beyond our control, so. So anyway, so that's in place, they've got now till June of 2020.
Jack, when you say that they have, Hunter now has until that date, is that to install or?
That's to have everything up and installed and the fiber optics are lit, which means they're functioning. They have till that time, and if they do it by that time, then they can get their monies and reimbursed for everything that they've spent.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I would think that they've been 2 years working on it now. I would hope that Hunter would make this their #1 priority and just hammer this thing out as quick as they can, but we'll see. Let's see here. We had an issue with a licensure with a staff member, not one of our staff. This is part of this. I have it on there because this is part of my report for Adele also, which is tomorrow. So I didn't put Adele in front of that one. That was for Adele. Legislative issues coming up. Here is just some light reading. Something to go to sleep on. Sorry there. So I'm not going to go over any of these. These are for you just to take a look at. These are the status of the bills that OA ESD has been watching over the last 15 months and where they're at and that kind of stuff. So I just want you guys to be able to have that to take a look at it. Then, let's see, the next thing on there is actually just for Adele. Sorry about that. Then I got an email from Colt Gill, and this is kind of interesting, as he says, he was at a meeting that we had, and one of the things that we had talked about was some of the stuff coming up on the Student Success Act, which is House Bill 3427. Some of the stuff that we had conversations with him was, okay, they're wanting to push some of these programs forward, and we said, okay, when's the funding gonna come through for this stuff? We're not gonna be, we would need to be hiring now to get somebody up and running before they, so they can start work in September. How far back is the funding? And we don't mind front loading a little bit, but we gotta know if we're gonna get this money. So this was his response. It says, based on our understanding, ESDs will receive a one-time $24 million investment for 1921. That's not much money, okay? When you're talking about all of the different ESDs for all these the programs that they're going to be wanting. And then they expect us to have those spent down in over the 15 months, and then the first 3 month or year one amount, the 24 million is going to be the 2020 to 21. The first three months or year amount beginning April of next year is only 4.8 million. That's the part that's really low. And so I don't know. It's going to be interesting because this is where this network that we talked about. This is where this is kind of going to come into play. We're not going to be a lead in the network. We will be part of the ESD that's doing the lead. I think there's 8. We've got it broken into 8 or 9, something like that. And so I don't know how much this is going to affect us because obviously we're not going to be the ones doing the hiring of staff to help with these programs. But I don't know that anybody else is going to be hiring anybody. Not for the amount of money that they're wanting us to push forward ahead of time. So,
Well, Jack, do they want us to put money forward, like a match, or?
not at this point.
uh-huh.
I haven't heard of anything like that.
Okay.
No. So, yeah, so anyway, so it's kind of interesting. I love going to the superintendent meetings, but, because the superintendents, they unload on ODE. They don't pull any punches when it comes to stuff, so, we don't know. We don't know where that's gonna be as far as how much we're gonna get, and frankly, it's not front-loaded very well. This is the Student Success Act. That's a tough time reading, saying that 10 times fast. It's come straight from Colt Gill, and this is the $2 billion investment that they're talking about, for the increase in well, it's not, they don't call it a sales tax, they call it a tax on gross sales. They're supposed to bring in $2 million in investments. This is how they're gonna break out the monies. And this is what they're gonna be using it on. It's gonna be interesting to see, because we don't know what some of these things are. For example, in the center column, the first one there, meet students' mental or behavioral health needs. Okay, what does that mean? How are we going to do that? Is that going to be from what I understood originally when this stuff first came down, was going to be a mandate to ESDs that we were going to have to supply a mental health counselor to school districts. Now, I don't know if that's still the definition of that, what it means, and we haven't seen any funding for it. But it'll be interesting to see what these things are and how they push these things forward. So there's a lot in there for that $2 billion. You think, wow, that's a lot of money, but when you start looking at all of these things here and you think of, there's 197 school districts and there's 19 ESDs, that money gets sucked up pretty quick.
Well, here's a big hole it can go in. Any other student groups who have historically experienced academic disparities as determined by the State Board of Education.
Yeah.
Where does that end?
Good question.
As I understand it in Portland, et cetera, the real problem is class sizes. There's nothing here that really addresses that, which would really be just a grant to the school district to hire more teachers.
Right.
Gosh, if I recall, what was it, the previous ed budgets were, around $9 billion?
Yeah, well, the what was just passed was $9 billion.
$9
Yes.
billion, okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, this is a $2 billion investment.
Yeah. But if you look at the last column, and you look at the little asterisks behind them,
Mhm.
these are all new programs. That means there are no employees
9 of
running these programs. They don't exist.
9 new ones.
And we don't know what the state's, what they're gonna be doing as far as if they're gonna try and hire people, if they're gonna try and farm this out to the ESDs and have us hire people, this kind of stuff for these programs.
And what is their definition? I mean, youth
Yeah.
re-engagement program, what
Yeah,
does that consist?
I don't know.
Or
I
And
haven't
ESD
seen.
support for school districts, that's
District
already your
support.
job, so what is,
district
What's the
support, I'm
change?
sure districts would love that,
yeah.
but what does it mean?
Yeah,
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
kinda open, but.
There's information to come. It will, they'll be coming down the pike and telling us what we have to do and that kind of stuff, but
oh,
it's,
accountability and transparency, their favorite, when in doubt, add that somewhere.
Mhm.
Gosh.
We live in interesting times,
yeah,
yeah.
so I'll be interested to see what all these are and what they entail and how they're gonna try and push this stuff out.
Success.
So, and then that's what I have for my board report. So,
Yeah, because she even said she couldn't bring her binder. She didn't know what it was at. So I don't
She
know.
might have forgot though, yeah, I didn't call her. I thought maybe first she was in a case, because you never know with them. but,
Thank you.
Don't be in a hurry to update it. I really don't spend a lot of time reading that.
I couldn't find mine.
Do you want a new one?
No. I've got it, I moved in the spec somewhere, so I've got it, I didn't discard it. I'm
I
kind
can probably just create a new one too.
No,
Okay.
I rely on your efficiency
Yeah.
to get me a policy as it's needed, really, really.
If I have a policy
Go
question, I
on
usually
the
ask,
calendar.
what's that
Well,
policy?
Okay, we can go through a discussion of the number 3, the calendar, and we just can't vote on it. Okay. So the 2019-20 board meeting calendar, second reading.
Pretty much same as this year.
Wish Dale was here, because I wanted to propose moving them up to 6 instead of 7.
Oh,
But I know that we have had them historically at 7 for Dale to be able to shut his
yeah,
store
because
down.
we've talked about that for a lot
Yeah,
of years.
I was just
off and on,
curious
if we could
where-
go to 6, yeah.
yeah.
My cohorts in my car coming back after the last meeting in Paisley informed me that I was still responsible to come to 2 meetings for ESD a
You
year.
have to drive
The
us.
budget I have to show from there, they guaranteed me gas and a free meal.
Yeah.
And
I think that's
we
reasonable.
will make you chairman again. An honorary due.
I'm sure David Kerr would give it up for her. Yeah.
I think the only difference between this one and last month's was I just finalized May and June dates because we had chosen.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, to do with the school and, yeah. Okay.
Oh, and one other thing, Adele's moved theirs to Thursday.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
The second,
the second Thursday, yeah.
Oh,
We
yeah.
went through a whole big hoopla to do that, and then all the people who need to change, it became okay to have it on Wednesday, but we'd already moved it, so.
It'll only
Yeah,
get tacky if
yeah.
they can't make it.
So, because ours are all on Wednesdays, right?
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I-
Minus
The budget.
budget, those are on
Right.
Tuesdays.
And
I've got it now to where Northlake and Paisley, they have theirs on Monday, and so I can go up to their meetings, I can hit Northlake, come back, hit the latter part of Paisley's on the way down on Mondays. Tuesdays I go out to Plush, Wednesdays we have here, Thursdays I go out to Adele.
Yeah,
So, yeah, so it's working, don't anybody
Yeah.
mess with it.
it's working fine.
If I'm the only one that it matters to, it's working.
Do they all hit in 1 week?
Yes, yeah, this is my,
This is all the
this is my
second,
week of
second week,
meetings.
yeah.
She's coming.
Oh, good. She forget?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
July 1st, organizational meeting reminder.
Yes. Noon,
Yeah,
lunch provided.
I can make that.
I'll be here.
Vicky's off the hook.
I'm off the hook. Okay, annual contracts.
All right, Sarah, you want to go over these?
Sure. The GASB 54 resolution is not a contract. Oh, that's because I pulled it out for signatures, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it's not a contract, but it's an annual resolution, we have to do it every year. You probably remember it from years past. It's a accounting transparency requirement through GASB, where we have to commit various ending fund balances, and then we have to say what types of money we spend, in what order, and all of that. If I can explain it in detail if anyone has questions, but it's the same as every year for the past several years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. The Agtech Solutions contract is there in your packet, and it is unchanged from this year's contract, with the exception of the IRS mileage rate, which they've never charged us for travel. They've always only charged us the quarterly amount that's included in that 6410. So
They doing a good job?
Josh is great. I really like Josh. He's very thoughtful and attentive. He knows when to come and talk face to face and when to phone or email. Yeah, I really appreciate that about him. ACTEC in general, I like them as a crew. They're very nice and sociable people. That's that one. And then the ADL clerk and principal contract. Same from year to year, principal and clerk fiscal services. Just continuing existing services, which is also the same for the North Lake fiscal contract.
Which is right here. Sorry.
So I'll say that.
Did you get my email about that survey that's supposed to be done? Okay,
I
it
emailed you.
reminded me
I
when
emailed
North
you back,
School.
yeah.
Oh,
I made-
okay, because it was
I've
just-
sent it out twice to them.
Okay,
I've sent it to Susan, I sent it to Will twice,
Okay.
and They're not
I
gonna do it.
CC'd it to you, hoping that maybe you could stir them since,
I
but,
tried.
okay, we
Yeah.
did ours.
We've done our due diligence,
Yeah.
that's all I need.
Okay.
Boy, that's a long contract.
Yeah.
Isn't it though? When we first entered into the contract, I was a little nervous over expectations, and so I might have done a little overkill, but I just wanted everyone to know what to expect.
Well, that's
And
better
who was
than-
responsible for what.
Better than assuming.
Yeah,
Well, it hasn't come up for a while, but they seem very happy with the services.
yeah, that office is great. They, the ladies up there are a wonderful support. They don't balk at anything. They do a lot of the legwork, and they're just great to work with. It's just a really good office dynamics up there.
Well, financially, it's definitely very managed too. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they're not gonna find somebody that does what Sarah does for that amount of money.
Yeah.
And who's as good as Sarah?
Oh, thanks.
Update on ESD goals?
Okay, so, remember way back when, in the year, we did our goals and stuff, and this is kind of the finalized progress and where we ended up. Superintendent meetings, things like that, we had meetings each month, we didn't, I don't think we skipped anything. And we had a real positive collaboration when it came to the local service plan and with the boards. They all had, it was very easy meetings and had very limited questions and stuff about the local service plan. So that went really well. I've attended all of the school board meetings in both Flush and Adel, and I even went in the snow.
I was gonna
So,
say, how was the
yeah.
winter ride?
No, I did it. At one point, they told me not to come, and I said, nope, I'm already out the door, I'll just come. And it actually wasn't bad, once I got to the cut across road, it was actually up on top, it was fine, because it had all blown, and the roads were clear, but down in the canyon, it was,
Oh,
it
yeah.
was pretty snowy. On the second page, there, I revised the stakeholder survey. I'm gonna keep that for a goal for next year, because it's not done, I need to revise it again. It's, after doing this, my second time doing it, and there's still issues that I'm still not getting the data that we should be getting from it, so. We talked about that when we had it, so.
It's all right, we've been running meetings except for what we have to vote on.
Goodness,
Yeah,
pardon me.
yeah, so I guess this one we can go ahead and vote, and I would say Jeanette's in charge then,
Yeah,
right?
she is.
Yeah.
She's-
Okay. Well, you weren't here, so we voted you.
Oh.
Congratulations.
Oh my gosh.
We'll pick what you're in charge of a little bit later.
Yes, okay. You would
You
not
won,
want.
you won every election.
Yes.
Without any
That
Russian
is from board
interference or anything.
appreciation back in January.
Did I miss that meeting too?
That was,
That's all right, I have one too, I
Yeah,
missed it.
nice.
so-
and then I forgot
That's
to bring you
okay,
to
guys.
like the last few,
Well,
so.
thank you, what a nice surprise.
Yeah,
Beautiful flowers,
Yeah, they
well
are.
deserved.
Thank you.
I'm sorry I swore in the telephone.
That was horrible.
It was,
I
wasn't it?
traumatized.
Well, I was in the bathtub, you would have been good to, it wasn't FaceTime, you'd have been drunk. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Camera's not on, right?
Oh, it is?
No.
Is that on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for God's sakes. I can't be, I'm sorry, never mind. See, this is a good reason why I
Welcome.
should never be anything but just what I am. Go ahead.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
We were
Do you
just teasing.
want another packet? I have an extra at my desk.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Back up.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, so we're just going through the ESD goals that we had set at
Yes.
the beginning of the year, so. And again, like I said, I met with Plush and Adele each month, and we've done quite a few different things this year as far as curriculum development and support for the staff and them going different places and that kind of stuff. I've assisted with, with our Adele clerk, and she's been doing a fantastic job. The Plush board, I'm very excited. They had at their meeting yesterday. They are beginning the conversation again of looking at building a small multi-purpose room to be able to add on to the back of the building that could be used as a small gymnasium for the kids in the wintertime and that kind of stuff. So the original one that they had designed and stuff was kind of a, oh, no, this is what you want kind of a thing. And it was the Taj Mahal. I mean, it's a beautiful, it would have been a beautiful building if they built it. Somebody'd have to have their name plaque above it, I think. So this is more of a, no, let's get back to brass tacks and let's get realistic, and we need a pole barn style building with a cement floor with some heat in it and, a bathroom. And, they're calling it good. So they've been working on that, which is good because 2 years ago, when I got here, I began that conversation, and so it's taken 2 years for it to come back to the top of the table, so.
I think it's been going on 10 years before that.
It was, yeah, that's what I said, that's where the designs for the Taj Mahal were. I had never seen them until last night, it was quite impressive. I've met with commissioners, and I've attended quite a few different chamber or commissioner meetings. Those are always interesting to go to. I've missed the last couple, and then, let's see here. The professional development, as Amy has done a fantastic job of getting people trained. You can see there, we've had RTI conference, we've had functional behavior analysis training. We sent people to the Whole Child Summit, school response team training. Then we sent people to the Early Learning Conference. We sent people to Woodcock Johnson and training. So there's been a ton of stuff go on there. So it's been, that's been a real good thing this year. Ethos worked out this year. We had a person up at North Lake, and they were there all year full-time. It got a little touch and go because they actually lost their housing that they had, and they ended up, we didn't know it at the time, we found out afterwards, they slept in their car for a couple of days this winter. We didn't realize it, and then we found, we're like, wait, no, this is not, we don't do this to people, Well, they ended up getting a dorm room at the Forest Service.
Wow.
The Forest Service dorms or barracks they have up there. They weren't using them, and they said, yeah, come on in, so they set her up, and she had a nice place to stay, and it wasn't the Taj Mahal, but it was nice, so, yeah.
Warmer than the car.
Beats the car.
Yeah, everybody was aghast that she had done that, but, she was being resourceful, so. And then our I've got represented ESD and Early Learning Hub. I've tried to attend them all. I think I've missed 2, maybe 3 at the most, but we're winding down on our 3-year grants, or excuse me, our 2 grants, our priority grants and our KPI grants. We did get the KPI grant pushed into this next year, because we said from the beginning, when we first got it, Vicki and I both were like going, this is ridiculous. They're telling us we had to spend the money by June 30th. And we're like, kindergarten camp is in August, folks. We're not gonna get this money spent. And we didn't, and they noticed that we had all this money, and they're like, well, maybe we can get it pushed into August. What a great idea. And so, we pushed it into August, and so we're gonna have kindergarten camps and stuff.
Heads are reeling somewhere without it.
Yeah.
It's their budget year.
Yeah, so we got it in there, and so that's good, so. I'm very pleased with the hiring we did this year. We got Janelle as an SLP out of Paisley. She's done a great job for us this year and fully intends to be back next year. So that's really positive. Sammy's been enrolled in her autism training, and she'll be up and running by January of next year. She'll be our full-time, or she'll be our autism specialist. She'll be able to do that on top of everything else that she's doing. We have another, Tiffany Roberts is her name. We have another traveling SLP with the Delta Healthcare Service. And right now we've got her locked in, and she will be here for all of next year. We still have the SLP position open in case somebody moves into town that has an SLP and needs a job. All we need is 30 days to cancel the contracted person. So, and that was one of the reasons we went with Delta, is because they did have just a 30-day, no reason, no whatever, cancellation. So, anyway, so hopefully we can find somebody, permanently, but at least we've got it down to where we only have 1 traveling person now, instead of, having 2. We have Brittany will be finishing up her training, and she will become an SLPA this next year. I think it's probably November, December, when she's finally gonna get her paperwork, be able to get it and get going on it. And so that'll be real positive. We'll have an SLPA up at the north end at North Lake, and then we'll have Brittany down here helping out down at this end of the county. So that's gonna be real positive. And I think in the long run, I'm pretty sure that Brittany is going to become an SLP. And as far as I know, her and her boyfriend are doing well, so we're hopefully there'll be marriage in there someplace, and then they'll stick around for a long, long time. And the Danielle, who has been our early learning person, she resigned at the end of this year, and she's going to U of O, going to college. She's just starting, and she wants to become an SLP. And she's a local young lady. I think, isn't she local? I thought so, yeah, she's local. So hopefully she gets hers, and there may be the potential for another SLP down the road too, so.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
Yeah, so we're excited about that. And she's been here and worked here with us for a year, and she really likes us and we like her, so hopefully she'll feel good about coming back. But, so anyway, so I think, we've done well with our goals this year. We've accomplished a lot. It's kind of interesting. I start looking back on it and looking at all these things we've done. I'm like, wow, that's a lot. So anyway, just wanted to get that to you. Cool. Okay, the election results, is that next?
Yes.
I don't know, I lost
Yeah,
my
that's where
place.
we are.
Update ESD, go, yep, there it is,
I'll help
okay.
Vicki, it's our last meeting.
Yeah.
She's struggling, I'll help you. We'll hold hands and get it going. So this is the election results. Very interesting. We had, what was the number? 100 and, how many was it?
104.
104
5.
write-ins. Never have I seen 100 people write in for an ESD board position. It's like, holy mackerel. So this has been certified. These are all the folks. As of right now, what we'll end up doing is I will go out and talk to the person with the highest number and say, okay, you had 5 people write you in as a board member. Are you interested? And I will explain to them what our board does and what our
Yeah.
purpose is.
Do you know
And-
Keith,
Or Kenneth?
Kenneth Wolf that has the
Valley Farm.
Valley Falls store? He's the one with the highest.
Really?
Do you know? Yeah, none of us know who he
Huh.
is, so.
So anyway, so I'll go out there and I'll talk with him, and then at that point, if he says yes, okay, we're good. If he says no,
We can decline it.
then, yeah, he can decline it, because it's a write-in, and then we can go down, I'll go down from there. So, there's one with 4, and then Kathy Miles has 3, and she has agreed that she would be willing to do it.
Oh,
Wow.
nice.
Wow.
If, you know, if we're able to appoint her, so. But that'll be coming up pretty quick and getting it working on, so. Okay,
And
All
this-
right.
and he'll probably say, what does ESD do?
yeah. Yeah. Okay, so then the next 2 pages you've got on in your packet there, one great big book, and the other is kind of a visual of what we've got going on as far as the P20 support network. And what we're doing as an ESD is we have come up with we've created the ESDs into little smaller entities. So we've got 8 of them around the state. And that's what the support network is. What we are doing is we're using that terminology, the P20 support network, as the term we're using with ODE when they're wanting to roll something out statewide. And rather than them shoving something down our throats, we're stepping up as the ESDs and saying, hey, we can do this. We already know our constituents, we know the staff, we know the teachers, we know the principals. Let us do it for you. You give us the money, we will make it happen. And this larger packet here is, what it is just all of the operating agreements for the membership of, which we are one of, memberships in this P20 support network. And it is, it's a contract is what it is, and we're just, this contract basically says we are willing to participate in this organization and do our part as far as, you know, being part of it. We will never, most likely never, be one of the 8. We will always be a subsection of one of the 8. We're not large enough and we're not geographically anywhere near where we would be centrally located to be able to, you know, fan out and do what we need to do. So other people will be the main players in this as far as the 8. In fact, I think, where's it at? It's in here. There's a page that has, oh, I don't remember what's that. Anyway, it says in here who the main 8 are. I don't see it.
Jack, something like this has been going on for decades in a sense, really.
It has, yeah, but from what I understand, is before me, is there was a fairly large rift within the ESDs. That there was a big argument, there were some ESDs that felt like they got the short end of the stick on something, or, and there's still, I believe, 3 ESDs that are not part of the network. They don't participate in our meetings, they don't.
Just the real small ones?
Yeah, they're in
Okay.
Eastern Oregon, up northeast Oregon.
Yeah.
And so they're not part of this. But you're right, this has been a conversation that's been going on since then, I guess. And now they're just beginning to finalize it, and they said, you know, we want this to be legitimate to where the state has an actual entity that they can talk to. And we are a network. We are OAESD.
Yeah,
You know, like they would talk to COSA, or they would talk, you know, that kind of thing. So,
Who would write this up?
this mostly was written by the program, called the Program Cabinet, which is the structure of the P20 network, or the, the structure of OAESD, okay? You've got your Program Cabinet, and then you've got your, we have our Superintendent's Cabinet, and then you have everybody.
so it was written
So-
up by essentially OAES.
Correct. It was written up by OAESD and the Executive Director, Gary Peterson. So, yeah. Which is pretty funny, just on a side note. Gary Peterson, who's the Executive Director, we met at one of our first meetings and stuff, and he goes, "Hey, Jack, do you remember me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, Gary Peterson. I recognize the name, but I can't place you." And he goes, "You were in 5th grade when I did my first year of teaching at 91 Elementary School."
Oh my gosh!
And why would he remember you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell no secrets, but yeah.
Oh my
That was pretty
gosh.
comical.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Kidding.
Well, actually, though, something like it's been going on for years, and I don't think the ESDs have changed in their outlook towards it. I think the ODE has really, hell, it changes every 3 years, it seems, just personnel
And I think that's why they're so open to this, and they recognize on this Student Success Act that they don't have the capacity to do all this.
Right.
And they're looking at this going, I don't know what we're gonna do.
Right.
And so they're coming to the table saying, "Hey guys, let's talk about this network. What can we do to help each other out?" And if it saves them having to hire people and deal with all the personnel and everything else and push it out, it's gonna be money well spent in their eyes to.
Yeah, that was my next question.
Yeah.
Has money been discussed?
Yeah, and it is part of the discussion, yes. So, as these things will come up, if all the ESDs agree to be part of this network, then we are a network, and we will have those conversations and how these things take place. So, but anyway, that's I'm sure you all read this and multiple times. You get it out there and understand it, but it's been vetted pretty hard on with our organization. So I have faith in it. So.
Any other questions or conversation? Well, we need to move back up to the top, consent items, now that we have a forum, to approve the agenda we've just gone through. And approve the minutes from the May 21st regular board meeting
I
minutes.
so move.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay, motion and a second, any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So now we have action items. So I need to approve the 2019-2020 board meeting calendar that we looked at.
What was this? This is we're supposed to approve this thing?
We will, we'll get into that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going down the line
Okay.
as it was. I'm on 4.1, approved 2019-2020 board meeting calendar. I have a motion to accept that. We discussed it earlier in our meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve it with changing in ADLs to Thursday instead of Wednesday.
Yeah. With the correction, okay. Do I have a
Second.
Okay, I have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, approve the 2019-2020 GASB 54 resolution that we have to approve every year. For Sarah,
Oh, well, I'll make a motion.
okay. I have a motion, I have a motion, second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Someone's phone's opposing. Approval of 2019-2020, the ACC Tech Solution Support Contract. Sarah's happy with that, she said.
I'll make
I
a,
move.
oh, excuse me.
I'll second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Okay. Approved 2019-2020 Adele Clerk and Principal Contracts.
I'll make a motion to.
Okay, got a
Do that.
motion? Second it?
I'll second.
All in favor? Opposed? Okay, approved North Lakes 2019-2020 Fiscal Service Contract.
I'll move.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Since Sarah didn't oppose it, I figured there was no opposition. She said they were nice to work with. Approved 2019-2020 Oregon ESD Support Network that we just went through.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, I have a motion, second.
No second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Now, do we just close the budget hearing, or do I read the executive session notes down there?
No, this is different from the executive, so
Okay.
you just state that we're closed.
Okay, we're a closed budget hearing.
So that means there's no more public input.
Yes.
Right. And I was just noticing the actual resolution isn't in the board packet. We didn't get it done in time, so if you guys want to see the resolution, I can pass it around for the budget adoption.
We must trust you.
Yeah,
Actually might need to see it just to make the motion.
the correct amount.
Yeah,
There you go,
Yeah.
John,
there you go.
'cause that's next. So to approve the budget,
Okay.
amend, adopt, appropriate, impose, and categorize taxes. So you need all that in there.
To be it resolves, be it resolved that the Board of Directors of the Lake County ESD hereby adopts the budget for fiscal year 2019-20 in the total amount of $2,445,379. This budget is now on file at our office, 357 North Hill. Be it resolved that the amounts shown below are hereby appropriated for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2019 for the following purposes. I'll just read the total adopted budget amount. It goes through general funds, special revenue, capital projects, and enterprise services. Total budget is $2,445,379. Be it resolved that the following ad valorem property taxes are hereby imposed upon the assessed value of all taxable property within the district for the tax year 2019-20 in the amount at the rate of .6364 per $1,000 of assessed value for permanent rate tax. Be it resolved that the taxes imposed are hereby categorized for the purposes of Article 11 of Section 11B as a permanent tax rate of .6364 per $1,000. The above resolution statements were approved and declared adopted. Well, not yet, but we have a motion to approve the budget.
I thought you were making the motion.
I make that motion, yes.
Okay. Second it.
I'll second.
Okay. Second, a motion and a second made. Any further discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Good job.
Okay, we're out of closed
Yes,
budget
that's a
meeting.
lot.
You know what I thought of after when we went in closed